What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast, and I'm going to show you three clips that are super, super important to watch. And what's happening is a global phenomenon, and it's going to affect every country, every person in the world. Recently, I just saw the gas station go from, it literally went up about 70 to 80 cents in about 5 to 7 days. Insane. Just from yesterday to today, it went up 20 cents. And this is a Shell gas station. I believe they stopped with some of their. I don't remember if it was oil purchases or drilling in Russia, but they stopped. And I am just astonished at how fast these prices are rising. Like I said, 20-cent gain in a matter of one day and about 70 to 80 cents in about 5 to 7 days. Unbelievable what we're seeing happen right now. So, anyways, watch this clip and and realize how how dangerous of a situation we're really in.
Massive rise in food and energy prices have caused enormous tightening of financial conditions, along with the liquidity issues of deplatforming Russia. The 2-10 swap curve is at 15 basis points and will hit zero soon, showing how tight conditions really are. Raul believes that a global recession is now likely. He goes on to say, and we're not going to put all the tweets up. We're just going to grab a couple. Peter, do you agree with that assessment based on what we're seeing?
Is in the bag at this point. We're going to lose 5 million barrels per day of Urals crude within the next few weeks, and somewhere between 5 and 10 BCF of natural gas going to Europe. We're going to have a food crisis by the fourth quarter because the world's largest wheat exporter just invaded the fifth largest one. There isn't going to be any planting season in Ukraine this year. We have a phosphate fertilizer shortage because of what's going on in China. Because of natural gas prices, we now have a global nitrogen fertilizer shortage. And Russia and Belarus combined are the world's largest potash producers. So a lot of farmers the world over are not going to use fertilizer this year. So we'll have a collapse in yields. That is how a famine begins. Global wheat stores are less than 5 weeks of usage.
Massive rise.
Listen to that last part.
Than 5 weeks of usage. That is how a famine begins. Global wheat stores are less than 5 weeks of usage.
Global wheat stores are less than 5 weeks of usage. Folks, this is something I've been talking about, and I've done a video on the possibility that this summer we have extreme heat, that we have a grain crisis in the Midwest. And you heard the man where the largest producer or exporter in wheat just attacked the fifth largest exporter in wheat. And then you have the whole issue of the fertilizer. Folks, this is not a joke. And what I've said before, set small goals every week. Hey, I'm going to buy an extra box of pasta, an extra bag of beans, an extra bag of rice. Because this is no joke. What we're heading towards is a very serious issue. I don't think people understand the implications of it, and you do because you're watching this channel. You're ahead of the game. You're seeing it for yourself. Check out this next clip.
Conservatively, between what's going on in Russia and Ukraine and what's going on in the fertilizer markets, the price of wheat between now and the end of the year is going to quadruple. The reference that Jacob made about what happened in the Middle East was when in one region it tripled. We're talking a global quadrupling. In the places that are more exposed to these producers, it'll be significantly worse. So yes, some degree of political unrest that is significantly worse than anything that we have seen with the Arab Spring is baked in now for the entirety of the Middle East. I'd also be a little bit worried about India and Pakistan. I'm horrified about what's going to happen in China because China is facing a complete food cycle collapse because of the combination of African swine flu and now what's happening with the Russians.
Okay, say more about that.
Sure.
A complete food cycle crash.
So,
Is that what you said?
3 years ago, the Chinese were infected with African swine fever, and they ended up culling more of their hogs than the world's commercial farms have. They're now trying to rebuild it, but almost all the people who came in to rebuild have no experience in farming, and they have never gotten rid of African swine fever. So when you want to build up a herd of hogs that are in the tens of the millions, there isn't enough fodder. So what the Chinese have been doing is buying food from everywhere, even things that are wildly inappropriate. Not just corn from Iowa, but broken rice from India, and even food grade wheat, like croissant grade wheat from France. Anything they can find. That's what's drawn everything down.
Mm.
And it's all going to be wasted because they never got rid of the disease in the first place. So the Chinese have decided that all that is left, the only thing they can guarantee, is rice. So they've pulled all the phosphate off the market, phosphate that the rest of the world needs for other fertilizer. So we're going on to a mono-food system in the world's single largest population with an economy that is dependent upon globalization, and globalization is going away. There's no way this ends well for the Chinese.
Folks, I'm telling you, grain, wheat, all these different types of basic fundamentals to a lot of our foods. If that quadruples in price, do you know what you're going to be paying for your items or your groceries? I mean, and never mind that. Look at the prices of natural gas and oil. I mean, oil is well above $100 per barrel. Folks, it's getting serious real quick. And I think that this Ukraine Russia crisis is going to extend further. It's not at this point in time. What's important to have is one, or obviously a roof over your head if you can, but food. Assuming you have a roof over your head, food is your number one priority. And food and water. And if you're going to invest at this point, and this is not financial advice, you do what's best for your situation. But if you're going to invest, it's probably going to be precious metals, right? And then lastly, you could do crypto, right? But at this point where the market is in crypto, it's one of those things where you have to be careful, you have to know what you do. But primarily, the most important things are food and water. Make sure you have some stocks of that, okay? Because that's going to be vital. That's going to be important. The rest, it's if you have extra money. But right now, you see how dire the situation is. I'm not saying precious metals and crypto isn't a good investment to have your money in, right? But at this point in time, if you haven't done much or anything at all, it's best that you start piling up some food. That doesn't mean go crazy and take everything from the store. No, you incrementally, buy a little extra here, buy a little extra there, and store it because times are going to get rough. And this is what he has to say about the Russian bond and stocks going to zero.
Companies that have left so far, Chevron, Exxon, Shell, BP, they were the ones who were responsible for bringing this stuff online. So even if nothing else went wrong and the oil kept flowing, you'd still be looking at a 50% reduction in output over the next few years because the Russians can't maintain this stuff. And every Russian bond and stock is going to go to zero, which is how things worked before globalization in a situation like this. There's plenty of historical precedent. The Russians are going to nationalize everything. And you're going to have to wait to start over with a fundamentally new government that has a different understanding of national authority and rule of law. So you have to wait for Putin to be removed from the scene one way or another, and the entire power cadre that he has spent the last 25 years building to also dissolve into something else. That is not a 5-year bet. Company.
Okay, so folks, make sure you have everything in place, what your plan is, what you want to do. Don't go at it, without thinking about what your next move is. Be smart about it, about your financial planning, about your food preservation, whatever you have, be smart about it. And this is not to scare anyone. It's revealing the facts of the situation and um, attacking the preparation. Right? You have to be prepared. So, without further ado, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.